Hello everyone, this is your host, your friend, your boy, Jet Black, the one and only, here with another exciting video. In this video, I'm going to be playing some AI Dungeon 2. This video was requested by King of Craxels on Discord. He paid $7 for this 1 hour special. Without further ado, let's hop right in. I'm going to set the timer for 1 hour, start the timer, and then jump right into the adventure. I hope you're all having a happy, fun day. Okay, let's see. Timer has started. We started recording. Now let's jump in. Vic Victoria Sirens is a siren, a warrior, and a thief who values intelligence and competence above morality. Vic Victoria Sirens possesses the ability to enthrall men with her siren song, leech life energy from her enemies, and to transform others into sirens by biting them. Vic Victoria Sirens cares little for human affection, but by her very nature is lustful. Lucy is a traveler from the multiverse who loves to explore, have friendly battles against powerful opponents, and party. Lucy has a hyper, caring, and somewhat impulsive personality. Lucy has the power to summon and manipulate portals. Lucy's power comes from a large crystal that is stored in a castle located in another universe. Lucy and Vic Victoria Sirens are both students at Seld City School of Magic and Technology. You are an instructor at the Seld City School of Magic and Technology that primarily teaches magic/technology-based combat strategies, techniques, and skills. You are currently having Lucy and Vic fight each other as a training exercise, where they both can go all out as long as they don't kill each other. You want to push Lucy and Vic to their limits and help them come up with new techniques for using their powers. Then the AI continued. You are in a training room where Lucy and Vic are facing each other from opposite sides, waiting for you to begin the match. So let's start things up. I'm going to say, or I guess announce, let the battle begin. And I guess before I say that, I should probably say, your goal is to come up with and perform as many special techniques as possible and win the fight without killing your opponent. Let the battle begin. Okay, so let's see if they can follow the rules. I should have drank some water first. So I'm going to clear my throat a little bit. I just had some milkshakes, and I can feel that my throat doesn't feel clear. Let's see. So the AI failed to load something. Checkmate, you say. Why would I say checkmate? I'm going to hit retry. Lucy says, "You ready, Vic?" Vic snarls and nods. "Ready," says Lucy. "Set, you say?" The girls charge at each other, weapons drawn and eyes locked on their opponent. They have weapons? That's interesting. Let's just hit enter. Let's just watch the fight unfold. So what weapons do they have? I actually didn't give them weapons. Also, I noticed my character just said set, and then they just took off. The girls rushed to close the distance as quickly as possible, Lucy firing her pistol at Vic, who easily avoids the shots by dashing side to side and starts slicing the pistol out of her hand with her sword. I'm sorry, Lucy has portal powers and a gun, and Vic is a siren with a sword. I feel like Vic does not have the upper hand in this situation. As Vic closes in on her with her sword, Lucy rolls to the side, causing Vic to miss and spin in place. Lucy uses her momentum to quickly stand up and back away from Vic. Vic stares at her opponent, silently waiting for Lucy to make a move. Okay, interesting interaction. So Lucy is essentially like outpacing Vic. She's able to dodge out of the way, make Vic spin around. How is Vic going to win this? Whoa, Lucy has a rifle? She has multiple guns? Lucy fires her rifle, the bullet speeding past Vic's head and into the wall behind her. Vic jumps slightly to avoid the shot and then laughs darkly. "Is that all?" she asks. Okay, so, Vic's pretty fast too. Vic is out here dodging like gunfire. So they're both quick. I guess if she's fast enough to dodge bullets, maybe it kind of balances it out. I mean, it feels like Lucy still has the range advantage. It's just a big gun. Oh, well, hold on. It's just a big gun. Is that all your intelligence can come up with? Lucy stares at Vic, thinking. Lucy quickly holsters the pistol and draws her combat knife, leaping forward towards Vic. Vic sidesteps the attack, causing Lucy to spin. Okay, so they both have done this thing where it's like you just kind of dodge out of the way and let the other person spin around. Why isn't anyone attacking their opponent while they're like stunned like that? That seems like the perfect time to like try and get a hit in. Whoa! Lucy pulls the trigger on her rifle, but the bullet is blocked by Vic's sword. Vic kicks the gun out of Lucy's hand and then slashes open her stomach. Oh my goodness. Is that too far? Like, should I intervene? I guess I'll just watch. Like, maybe they have ways to get around that. We're about to find out. Lucy gasps and staggers backwards, clutching her wound. Vic walks up to her and slashes her across the throat, causing blood to burst forth from the wound. Vic looks up at you with a smile on her face. Well, she asks. I'm going to say, no killing. Vic, take a quick moment to strategize your next move. Lucy, use your powers and come up with a healing technique to recover from your injuries. Okay, so let's just see what they do. I forgot to say with a healing technique. I said come up with healing technique. Vic nods and crouches down for a moment, thinking about her next move. Lucy staggers forward to grab her pistol, but quickly collapses on the ground. Vic stands up from her crouch and looks at you with a confused look on her face. Okay, I'm gonna say, let's take a quick break and call in a healer to help heal Lucy before we continue. So I thought Lucy would maybe be able to try and do something, but I think Vic fucked her up. Vic fucked her up really hard. Cut her throat and sliced open her stomach. Lucy struggles to stand up, but before she can, Vic shoots her in the side of her head with her pistol. Vic had a gun? You never let your guard down, she shouts at Lucy as blood spurts from her wounds. What the fuck? I'm gonna say, Vic, stop for now. I am calling in a healer to help fix Lucy. Let's see. You call for the school healer to come tend to Lucy's injuries and tell Vic to sit on the bench. Yeah, Vic needs to chill out. Also, Vic had a gun and didn't choose to use it until then. Vincenzo sits on the bench nearby and stares at her as she struggles against death. I'm going to change that to Vic, but whatever. After a few minutes, the healer walks in with two medical students trailing behind her. She walks over to Lucy, who is still bleeding out on the floor. I need light over here, she says. Let's see. So let me change Vincenzo to Vic. They have hella weapons. I'm going to ask them to not use weapons next time. Okay. So I'm going to bring a light over to the healer. The healer looks up at you and nods. Hold the light high so I can see what I'm doing. You lift the lantern over your head and shine it down on Lucy, who's struggling to breathe. Okay, and I just hit enter. Yeah, let's have them not use weapons. I want the focus to be on them trying to, like, utilize their powers to come up with special techniques, which neither of them really did. They just kind of were going hard with the weapons. I don't even think either one even tried to use their powers in the fight. Let's see, I'm gonna hit enter, just try again. Lucy is definitely in a tight spot. Her throat slashed, her stomach cut open, and like side of her head got shot. The healer and her students quickly start taking off their coats, guns, and belts, which they use as bandages to wrap around Lucy's wounds. Maybe their coats and belts. I don't know about their guns as bandages. The girl is going to bleed out if we don't stop the bleeding, she says. Let's say they use the coats and belts as bandages. I'm trying to imagine a gun that could be used as a bandage. They are magical, so maybe they like cast a spell and it turns their gun into a bandage, but then why would you even do that? Also, the healer so far isn't really doing anything magical. She's just like, we gotta stop the bleeding. It's like her stomach was cut open. You need to do more than that. One of her students quickly starts cutting off the sleeves of his shirt, which he also uses as bandages. The healer grabs Lucy's knife and looks at Vic. I'm sorry about this. Who says I'm sorry about this? Does Vic say that? Does the nurse say that? Like, where's this going? What? What? She cuts open Lucy's abdomen, pulling out her entrails before Lucy finally dies. The healer starts sewing up the wound with a needle and thread, while you and Vic watch in silence. After several minutes, the healer finally finishes sewing Lucy's wounds before standing up. I'm gonna ask the healer, why did you kill her and take her entrails? Are you going to somehow revive her? Using her entrails? My goodness. What a, like, vicious way to go out. Hard death. What the fuck? What? No. I'm going to sew her back up and then dump her body outside the city. We can't have such a mess in our hospital. Oh my gosh. Why'd you rip out her entrails? I'm going to say to the healer, you didn't cast any spells. Why not use magic to save Lucy and bring her back to life? We are a school of magic and technology. Why not give her cybernetic implants to bring her back? Or some kind of life potion. Yeah, and she straight up murdered her too. She was like, and like ripped the entrails out or whatever. Like Lucy was bleeding, but she wasn't dead. What? So she said, what? No, we are a school of magic and technology, not potions and cybernetics. Bitch, that's what potions are magical and cybernetics are technology. Goodness. Potions are magical and cybernetics are technology. You just killed that poor student instead of using magic to help her. It is your job to use magic and technology to heal the students. If you don't find a way to resurrect her, I will have you fired and convicted for this. Yeah, so this is a weird turn of events. I didn't expect it to go in this direction. The healer stands up and heads to the door, grabbing the two medical students as she leaves. A few minutes later, the healer returns with a half a dozen of her staff, and they prepare Lucy's body for transport. I'm going to ask the healer, so are you all getting ready to try to resurrect Lucy? I feel like the answer is no. I feel like they're just gonna like dump her body. No, we are taking her outside the city so we don't have to look at her. What? She then leaves with the rest of her staff, leaving Vic and you in the room. Vic walks over to you. I'm going to say to Vic, it is not your fault. I imagine you thought as well that the healer was going to actually try to heal Lucy's wounds. I am going to go talk to the dean to get this settled. Yeah, because that's just not right. Like, something needs to change. Either we shouldn't have, like, combat training that, like, utilizes weapons at all, or our healers should actually, like, use our resources in order to help our students in situations like this. This is a horrible tragedy. Excuse me. It's weird to think that you're gonna have like a big superpower battle, and then they just don't do a superpower battle. You look at Vic, who looks upset. Vic, it's okay. I'll talk to the dean and get this all sorted out. Don't worry. Just go back to your room and relax. We'll fix this. Okay. So I'm going to head to the dean's office and explain the situation. Because this is crazy. I didn't expect the healer to do that. And I don't know why she took the intros. You walk to the dean's office, which is empty. You walk back out and bump into David, who is on his way to the dean's office. What's going on? He asked. The healer killed Lucy. I'm sorry to hear that. David needs a more distinct voice. Hold on a second. What's going on? He asked. The healer killed Lucy. I'm sorry to hear that, David says. I'm going to ask David if he knows where the dean is. Also, just saying I'm sorry to hear that is so casual. The healer just, like, killed a student or whatever. Yeah, I'm supposed to meet him there in his office. David walks into the dean's office, and you follow him. The dean looks up from his desk and waves at David. Wait, I went to the dean's office and it was empty a moment ago. You were confused by the sudden appearance of the dean in his office. The dean must have entered his office while you were distracted talking to David. Let's see. I guess I'm going to stand by while David and the dean talk and wait for a good moment to bring up what happened to Lucy. Yeah, they kind of have like a pre-existing meeting or whatever. I feel like what I'm talking about is important, but I have no idea what David says. So what brings you here? The dean asks. David looks at you and then back to the dean. David mentioned that you wanted to talk to the dean about Lucy being killed by the healer. Oh yes, it was very tragic, the dean says. Okay. So I'm going to approach the dean and say, the healer didn't use any of the school's magic or technology to save Lucy. Lucy was gravely injured, but the healer actually went out of her way to kill Lucy by ripping out her entrails after cutting her open with a knife. Yeah, like the situation is like really bad. And I feel like justice needs to come for Lucy's death. The dean looks shocked and says, "What?" Let's see. So then it added in some like crazy extra thing that didn't happen. So now I'm going to reply. And I'm going to say, something needs to change. Or I guess something needs to happen. The healer needs to be arrested for murdering Lucy. That's my first thing, like thing number one. The second thing that I'm going to say is our medical staff needs to be using magic and technology to heal students when they are injured. Weapons should no longer be allowed in training combat, like in training battles. So I'm going to say that to the dean. Like, I feel like those three things need to come into effect. This was like a horrible incident, and I don't think anything like this should ever happen again. The dean nods and says, I agree. Lucy was the only one who knew how to get back home, you say sadly. What does that even mean? I have no idea what that means. So I'm going to get rid of everything. Well, maybe not everything. I'm going to get rid of the line that it had me say. But I'm going to keep the part where it says, the dean thinks for a moment and then picks up his desk phone. He presses a button and says, so I'm going to hit enter. Adam, could you come to my office? You don't know who Adam is, but a moment later there's a knock at the door. The dean says, enter. And a man in a blue uniform with CD printed on the front in gold letters enters and salutes. CD. What does CD mean? Surely it doesn't mean like compact disc. At ease, Adam, the dean says. These are the workers I was telling you about. The dean and David introduce you and Vic to the man named Adam. It seems that he is a security officer. So, what can I do for you all today? Says Adam. Okay, so the CD are security officers. I'm going to explain to Adam that the healer murdered Lucy in front of multiple witnesses and needs to be arrested. Also, it seems like Vic got teleported into the room with me. Like Vic must have just shown up like earlier at some point. I'm fine with that, I suppose. What? I'm sorry, but I don't see how that is relevant to security, says the security officer. The fuck is going on? So I'm going to look at Adam with an eyebrow raise and reply. So you don't see how a healer at the school murdering people isn't a security problem? The healer is still on campus and could literally just kill anyone if she wanted to. You need to at least detain her and contact the proper authorities to arrest her for murder. Yeah, that was really messed up. You look at the security officer with an eyebrow raised. He says that he doesn't see how that is a security problem. What? Okay. So I'm going to ask the dean to call the police. Just call the real police. Adam seems to be like on some other shit. I don't know what he's on, but it's some strong shit. Like I don't even think he understands where he is. The dean nods and picks up his desk phone. He dials some numbers and waits. Okay. Please call the authorities. Adam is so trash. He's the trashiest of all trash. A moment later, he hangs up and says, I got a message saying calls are down due to maintenance. I'll try again in an hour. The dean hangs up the phone and sits back. What? He hangs up the phone and sits back down at his desk. You think for a moment and then speak up. You ask the dean if he would be fine with you restraining the healer until the police arrive. You want to do a citizen's arrest on the healer to prevent her from getting away with murder. Yes, you can restrain her, says the dean. I should also mention that I have a plan to increase security on campus. Oh wait, hold up, that's probably the dean as well. I should also mention that I have a plan to increase security on campus. The dean goes on to explain that after you restrain the healer, he's going to call in the city guard to help with security in general. Okay, awesome, because Adam is incompetent. I'm going to thank the dean for his time and then head to the healer's office to see if she is there. Gosh. I guess Adam has to be incompetent, or else I don't have anything to do in the story. We should be able to find the healer in her office. That's where she spends most of her time when she isn't in class or working at the hospital, David says. You all walk to the hospital and then to the healer's office. The healer's what? Why would we go to the hospital and then to the healer's office? I just want to go to to the healer's office. So I'm going to edit that. You all walk to the healer's office. It's more along the lines of what I'm looking for. Okay. Let's see how this continues. It is labeled Dr. Miller. Strange. Her office is on the first floor near the entrance of the school. How is that strange? Yeah, she's the school healer, David. I don't understand what's up. You were confused by David's statement. You reply, she is the school healer. So of course, her office is by the entrance of the school. Let's see. You look at Vic, who joined you earlier in the dean's office and has now followed you to the nurse's office. Well, I guess the healer's office. You tell Vic that everything is going to be okay. As you open the door, or I guess as you try to open the door to the healer's office. Okay. So let's get inside this office and arrest the healer, who's actually the murderer. She isn't here, you say. Why would I say that? Did I open the door? Let me retry, because I don't know why I would say that. Why would I be confused by the healer's office being next to the entrance of the school? That's not weird. I'm going to hit retry again. I don't know why, but this seems really strange to me, David whispers loudly. You open the door to the healer's office and are suddenly transported to a large room. Wait, what? You think that the healer's office might be magically larger on the inside than on the outside. You walk inside and look around for the healer. The large office has everything a doctor might need. You see the healer standing at a desk, looking at some papers in her hands. She looks up and says, Hello, how can I help you? You think to yourself, this must be the healer David was talking about. I know who the healer is. I've seen the healer. I'm going to tell the healer to sit down. To sit down and don't move. You inform the healer that she is under citizen's arrest and that you will not let her leave the room until the authorities arrive. You then pull out your phone and try to call the police. Okay, so let's see how this goes. The phone has no signal. What? Where's the nearest landline? You ask to yourself. You look around the office and see a desk with a phone on it, but it's on the far side of the room from you. Okay. I'm going to ask David and Vic to watch the healer. Yeah, to watch the healer. And make sure that the healer doesn't leave the room. I then am going to walk over to the nearest landline phone and attempt to call the police. So my phone has no signal. Earlier when the dean tried to call, he said the service was down for maintenance. Let's see if I end up in a similar situation. You pick up the phone and dial 911, but there's no dial tone. Excuse me. You were surprised that there's no way to contact the police. It seems like right now happens to be the worst time to need a police officer. Yeah, I need to figure out something that I can do. You ask Vic and David if either of them happen to know spells that can be used to contact the police. Yeah, because this is getting ridiculous. So far, it seems like the healer is cooperating, which is nice. Maybe I know one, says David, but it's beyond my ability to cast right now. Let's see. Yourself and Vic are the only two people here who can actually cast spells. A light bulb goes off in your head. Give me that spell book. Okay? You point at a spell book in the office. Wait, hold on a second. Vic and I are the only two who can actually cast spells? I'm gonna ask, why is that? Surely the healer can cast spells. Let's see. You look David up and down and ask, do you specialize in mainly technology? Well, no, actually, I'm not going to ask that. I'm going to ask, why is a contact spell currently beyond your ability? Yeah, David says that he can, maybe cast a contact spell, but it's beyond his ability. What does that mean? What? Well, I'm a little intoxicated right now. One of my friends gave me a bottle of tequila earlier to help me get over my hangover. I shouldn't really be casting any spells right now. He's like, I don't want to cast under the influence. What? You are stunned. You can't believe that David went to talk to the dean while intoxicated. You can't believe. I mean, I already said you can't believe. You don't understand how all of your coworkers are so incompetent. You yourself feel incompetent as well. You should have known that weapon-based combat training would be too dangerous. But you assumed that the healer would be able to fix everything if something went wrong. Now it seems like the whole school isn't really capable of doing anything. Yeah, like, this is kind of silly. Every single, like, character that we've encountered so far that's, like, worked for the school hasn't really been able to do anything to help the situation. Your thoughts are interrupted by the healer who says, "Please don't cast any spells. You might hurt yourselves or each other in this state." You say, "What were we supposed to do? Just stand here?" That's not what I'm going to say. That's not what I'm going to say at all. I'm going to say to the healer, that's exactly what I would say too. If the people casting spells are trying to arrest me. Be quiet. Yeah, I'm just going to tell her, like, shut up. And then I'm going to ask David to teach me the contact spell so that I can cast it. Yeah, just so that I can cast it. Excuse me. If David is, like, too intoxicated to do it, that doesn't mean that I can't do it. Also, tequila wouldn't help you get over a hangover, you fuck. That just would make it worse. Oh, I really feel like I shouldn't be casting a spell right now, David slurs. The healer attempts to intervene and stop you from casting spells, but you push her away. Fair with the push her away. I'm going to say to David, don't cast any spells. Just teach me how to cast the contact spell. Tell me what I need to do to cast without you actually casting anything. Yeah, like, I'm a magic instructor. Like, I know what I'm doing. Just teach it to me. Don't actually, like, cast. All right, David says, but I'm telling you, this doesn't feel right. We shouldn't be messing with magical law. It's dangerous. What? David, shut the fuck up. I'm a magic teacher. That's what I do. This is a magic and technology school. I teach magic and technology-based combat. This is an institution for teaching students how to use magic and technology. We always are using magical law, and we teach our students to use magic responsibly, or at the very least, that's what we should be doing. David, I am ashamed of you for your reckless drinking. Magic users should work hard to avoid inebriation. As a drunk magic user is more dangerous than a nuclear bomb. That being said, you are likely under such a stupor. Is a stupor a real word? I feel like I've heard that word before, but now I don't know how to, like, spell it. You are likely so intoxicated that you may not even register what I'm saying. Especially if you think more alcohol is what gets you out of a hangover. Yeah, this situation is only, like, getting worse and worse as it progresses. You take a deep breath and begin casting the spell. adeste fidelis leti juventutis, you say, as you channel your magical energy towards David. When the spell is cast, you feel lightheaded and you begin to fall. Ooh. I'm going to, try to catch myself to prevent myself from falling. The goal of your spell was to help sober David so that he could cast the contact spell to call the authorities. Okay. Hopefully this works. Predictably, as you fall, you catch yourself with a magical barrier. David, you call out as you begin to lose consciousness. What? We both have hangovers, cast the spell? We don't both have hangovers, you ass. Retry. I'm not drunk. You fall to the floor. You suddenly feel a splitting pain in your head, and you begin to see double. You attempt to grope for your phone, which you remember that you still have, but your arms don't seem to work right. Why would I try and reach for my phone? My phone has no signal. I'll leave in everything except for you try to reach for your phone thing. Seems dumb. Okay, so this is actually a really bad situation. I'm going to say to Vic, or I guess I'm going to ask Vic, do you know any minor healing spells? I don't want the healer to help me, since we just saw her murder Lucy. I don't think I need much. I just need something to help me with my head. Because I actually don't know what's wrong with my head. I just know that I have a splitting pain in my head and I'm seeing double. No, Vic says. What? Lucy didn't just get murdered by the healer. She killed me, too. Shut up, retry. That doesn't make any sense. I can help you there, Vic replies. Thank you. Okay. So I'm going to allow for Vic to try and cast a minor healing spell on me. So far, it seems like Vic could be a better healer than the actual healer. Vic's spell takes the edge off your headache, but you still feel a splitting pain. You need to go see a healer yourself. Yeah, but not this healer. Fuck this healer. Let's see. I'm going to check my pockets to see if I have any Advil. I used to know some girls in high school who would always carry headache medicine or whatever with them, in their purse and stuff like that. I always thought that was odd because it was the first time I'd ever seen something like that before. You feel something in your pocket. It's a crumpled up card. You pull it out of your pocket and read it. If you ever need any assistance, 312-555-0752, it says. You check the time on your phone. Why? Why would I check the time on my phone? I'm not going to do that part. So I have a business card for a phone number, which sounds like it'd be useful if I wasn't without service. Apparently I have no signal or whatever. And also there's no dial tone on the healer phone. So I'm just kind of screwed right now. Let's see. I'm going to explain to David that you cast a spell a moment ago to help make David sober. And then I'm going to request for David to cast the contact spell to call the police to arrest the healer. You explain what happened to David, who is still very intoxicated. So the sober spell didn't work, and it caused me to fall and almost pass out, I think. So, the healer killed Lucy with a spell, David says as he begins to rub his head and stumbles around in confusion. And you think I need to call the police? And then I'm not going to reply by saying yes. I'm going to say, the healer killed Lucy, but she did it with a knife, not with a spell. I thought my spell would make you sober, but apparently it just took a lot out of me. I suppose that you're so intoxicated that I would need a really powerful spell to actually make you sober. I apparently don't have the mana right now to help you get sober. You ask Vic if she can cast a contact spell to call the police to arrest the healer. It seems like phones are not really the way right now. I don't know the contact spell, Vic says, and I wouldn't know how to make David sober. He needs to get that himself. David begins to get a headache. He rubs his head quite a bit and looks in pain. Goodness. So, I'm going to ask Vic if her cell phone has signal. We need to figure something out. I don't have a cell phone, Vic says. And I don't think David does either. Well, can you contact someone with your mind then, you ask? I've never tried, Vic says, looking up as if pondering something. Also, I feel like when I first started, I was able to do like a girl voice, but also kind of like this. But I don't know how I made it sound girly before when I was trying to do like Vic being like a sinister or whatever. I need to figure out the balance between those two voices. Let's see. I'm going to ask Vic to try. Wait. Hold on. You say to Vic, part of today's lesson was about discovering special techniques. You and Lucy, however, focused on weapons fighting, on weapon battles, or weaponized combat? Let's say weaponized combat, rather than using your powers. This could be a good opportunity for actually using your powers in a special way. Try to use your Siren song to specifically enthrall a police officer to come here to the healer's office. Yeah. So yeah, I should just use my skill as a teacher to teach Vic a new technique. I don't think I can just sing someone into doing what I want them to do, Vic replies. I'm going to explain to Vic. You are a siren. Singing men into doing what you want is one of your main powers. Excuse me. I want you to focus on trying to summon a police officer while singing your siren song and see if that allows you to specifically target police with your song. Yeah, a targeted siren song actually sounds like a really interesting power. I don't think I've ever really seen that before. I guess it's worth a try, Vic replies as she stares into space and begins to hum. She continues doing this for about 5 minutes as David continues to rub his head. The door opens and a man steps in, dressed in a police uniform. You congratulate Vic on her new special ability and let her know that it will be extremely useful in the future. I'm going to explain to the police officer that the healer murdered a student and that you and Vic witnessed the murder firsthand. I forgot to say it will be extremely useful. I only said it will extremely useful. David, are you okay? The man in blue asked. You recognize him as Officer Graham, a police officer who teaches self-defense at the college and is in charge of security there. I'm fine, David replies, but I think the healer killed Lucy, my girlfriend. What? What? You're confused. You thought David might have been an instructor, but you suppose that David is actually just a fellow student. Well, I mean, not a fellow student, just a student. You didn't know that David and Lucy were dating. You, for a moment, are surprised that David wasn't more heartbroken, but you suppose that David likely is still too intoxicated to put 2 and 2 together, to feel the full emotional weight of the situation. Yeah, that actually is kind of interesting. I'm Officer Graham, the officer says. What's going on? Vic walks up to the officer. Officer Graham, Vic says. The healer killed Lucy. It should be she. She stabbed her in the neck, and I used my siren song to call you. Well, she actually slashed her in the abdomen or whatever. But she did do stuff with a knife. I can't tell if if Vic's lying or what. But that's weird. It's weird for her to say. Also, I only have like 31 seconds left. I point at the healer. Yeah, like, he just needs to arrest her. Arrest her, please. I saw him kill her, you shout. It's a she. I saw her kill her. Quiet down, Officer Graham says. I need you to tell me exactly what happened. You explain to Officer Graham everything that happened. Adam was like a security guy that we talked to before. He didn't seem nearly as competent as Officer Graham. Also, he teaches self-defense as well. He takes notes and nods, then leaves the office to go to the crime scene. All right, Officer Graham says. What about the healer? The healer's just here in the office, unsupervised. I mean, she hasn't really tried to escape or anything, but still, nobody's gonna put handcuffs on her or anything. Anyways, so that's today's adventure. It didn't necessarily go in the direction that I thought it would, in any way, actually. Because Vic just straight up murders Lucy, and the two of them fight with weapons rather than using their powers at all. And then no one really knows how to get in touch with the authorities. I did at the end of the day, though, teach Lucy a new special technique. So at least we got like a teaching moment in. What do you guys think of this episode? Definitely let me know in the comment section below and on Discord. If you guys have any video ideas, definitely hit me up on Discord. If I like your idea, I'll charge you $7 per hour length of the video. So that's $7 for 1 hour, $14 for 2 hours, or $21 for 3 hours. If you guys just want to help support the channel, feel free to support us in our Cash App, or using our Cash App, link in the description box below. And if you guys like AI Dungeon 2, make sure you subscribe, because we do AI Dungeon 2 videos every day. This is your host, your friend, your boy, Jump Like the One Only, logging out. Peace, guys. Check it about.